Why would he test
Suppose now we just hear a voice from the sky.
Yes.
I'm God, I created you. Would you believe?
I'd be certain. I'd be actually uncertain because it could be anything.
So you're demanding an evidence which will not give you certainty. Is that logical thinking?
It can be.
No, is that logical thinking?
Again, it's completely different.
No, it's not completely different.
It is.
So again, better ways you said. Better ways, instead of revealing a guidance to prophets and messengers, you said what? One in the sky, voice in the sky, which cannot give you certainty.
I print my name. I print my name on the sky.
If you see your name printed in the sky, you'll be certain.
I'd question it, but I'd be more certain than.
Would you be certain?
I'd be more certain than.
It's not more certainty. Would you be certain that that's it? I'm certain now God exists.
You cannot be 100% certain of anything.
Give me something that will give you 100% certainty.
There's no such thing.
There's no such thing.
No such thing. It could be an illusion. It could be anything.
Right. So you're demanding evidence which will never give you 100% certainty.
It's more certain than a book.
It's not about comparative more certainty. Can you be certain is the question. You said I can never be certain. Then why do you even demand in the first place?
What kind of question is that? I mean, it's a question.
It's like ordering something you don't want to eat. I mean, I don't understand where you're coming from.
It's nothing like that.
You are demanding evidence which will not satisfy you.
It's more satisfying.
No, not more satisfying. I want you to something that will satisfy you and convince you. That's it. You say that's it. I don't want anything else.
It could be an illusion. It could be anything. God himself could come down, and I could be hallucinating. Mass hallucinations happened previously.
You're giving me something that would not satisfy you. What I want from you is what will satisfy you? Nothing. So basically, is it worth even demanding from anyone evidence about God? Because nothing will satisfy you.
No. That would feed onto something. That would probably make me believe a bit more. But
what about belief? What will give you absolute certainty? Nothing.
There's nothing.
Right. So what's the point of even getting this, some less certain things in your life?
And they thrive in it.
What kind of question is that?
Well, it's a simple question.
It's not a simple question. It's an open question.
The Quran tells us about the natural phenomena. Okay. It tells us the mountains were created with deep elevation in the ground, roots.
That was common knowledge.
Common knowledge?
Yes.
Yeah, who knew that?
I don't know, 2nd century. There were scientists.
Yeah, who knew it? I would like to know the names and when they lived and which kind of writing can we refer to find this information.
Obviously, I can't give you a name. Sorry?
You want internet?
No, I'm fine. But obviously, I can't give you a name.
Have you read it yourself?
Read what?
That yes, people knew this. Are you just making this up?
Before Christianity, there was scientists, philosophers that knew everything. Not everything, but they knew a lot about all of this kind of create, all these.
I asked you a very specific question. So either you have looked into it already, or you haven't. Have you looked into it?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you have read somewhere or heard somewhere that yes, people in the past, before the Quran came into existence,
the Greeks
knew the mountain had roots. So we should be able to find in their writings, right? Which writings can you refer me to, please?
That's a tough question. I can't give you an answer.
But you can take my email and you can send the information to me.
There was knowledge previously about.
I asked you about a specific question about mountain having roots.
I'm not sure.
No. You said they knew, and now you're saying I'm not sure.
Stuff like that was common knowledge.
You claim it was common knowledge. You should be able to substantiate your claim with evidence.
I can't give you evidence of that right now.
I'm not asking you to give me evidence now.
The Greeks, Romans.
There you go. Google. Find it.
But not everything is in Google, okay? Don't be like a Gary Googler. Okay. The Quran talks about the common origin of the universe, that it was just one piece joined together and God parted it asunder, and everything.
That was known.
And everything is made. Every living thing is from water.
Oh, yeah, that was known previously.
Who knew it?
That's not.
Who knew it?
Galileo, for instance.
Galileo came before the Quran or after the Quran?
Before.
Galileo came before the Quran.
No, 2nd century. There were scientists from the Greeks.
Who among the Greeks?
I can't name.
Okay, have you read it yourself?
But
on this particular one, I've read a lot of Greeks. Pre-Socrates, post-Socrates.
Okay.
I can give you some of the names, right?
Right.
Alexander, Thales, Aristotle, and later on the scientists Galen, Hippocrates, and so on. Who among them or the others, the sophists, knew this? Because you made the claim again.
I can't give you a name.
But you'll be able to, right? If I give you my email.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the end, I will give you my email, and I expect that you provide some evidence for it.
Okay, I will.
Yeah. Okay.
Common knowledge.
No. When you say common knowledge, this is a blanket generalization to discredit everything that we bring from the Quran, common knowledge. On this particular issue, you know what about the issues of life? The Greeks believed in elements, like, you know, the ether, fire, water, earth, 4 or 5 elements, right? And life came from what?
Water.
No. Mixture of these.
Okay.
Right. There was one person called Thales. Everything came from water, not just life only. Okay. So that was the closest one. But again, he was not specific like the Quran. I haven't found any other Greeks. So unless you can tell me that yes, there you go, this is Greek author who's exactly told this information before the Quran did. It'll be interesting.
Honestly, I'll provide it.
Please do.
Just like the embryo.
What about the embryo?
That was in the 2nd century.
What did they know about the embryo?
The bone and the flesh.
Okay. Did they know that the embryo resembled the shape of a leech?
No.
But the Quranic description actually alludes to this point with the word alaqa, which likes like a leech. In fact, it doesn't even look like a leech. It functions like a leech. The embryo at from about day 17 to 21 days.
Okay.
Very precise, if I know my dates correctly. Okay. It looks like a leech with all these somites. Okay, because this is what, when you open up a leech, this is exactly how it looks like. It functions like a leech by when it sucks the blood. The Quran says that how within the sperm is turned into, created into this alaqa and transforms. But that's not what some of the Greeks believed. They believe you need menstrual blood.
Again, I can provide you the scientist.
Which scientist?
I can't remember the name. I can provide it.
I very much doubt so, because
it was common knowledge.
listen. When you say common knowledge, you just keep on saying common knowledge.
Between the scientists back then. Obviously, the majority did not know, but the Greeks did know all about it.
They used to believe that milk participated to embryology.
Did they know that the sperm is self-motile?
Can't answer that.
That's what the Quran says.
Can't answer that.
Ma'un dafiq, something that is, you know, by itself, proceeding by itself.
And it says that the sperm is created from the ribs, isn't it?
Does it? Where does it say that? You were a Muslim, right? You should know.
No, it used to. Can't remember this verse exactly.
I'll tell you where it is. Now you tell me now, where does it say that? In Surah Al-Tariq, yeah? I'll give you the English if you have forgotten your Arabic already. Let's deal with this. Okay. So now let man think from what he is created. He is created from a drop emitted, proceeding from the backbones and the ribs.
Backbones and the ribs.
And surely he is able to bring him back to life. The day that all things secret will be tested, he will have no power and no helper.
What's the backbones and the ribs?
Let's understand that before we go into the backbones and ribs. The Quran talks about let man. Now let man, فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ مِمَّا خُلِقَ. Let man think from what he's created. خُلِقَ مِن مَاءٍ دَافِقٍ. He's created from a water or ma, or a fluid that is self-emitting.
Yeah.
Okay? Gushing forth by itself. يَخْرُجُ مِن بَيْنِ الصُّلْبِ وَالتَّرَائِبِ. Proceeding from the sulb, which is the backbone or the loins, and the ribs.
So
what proceeds?
So what's
What proceeds?
proceeding from the backbone?
Who's
and the
proceeding?
ribs?
Who's proceeding in this verse?
Sperm.
How do you think this is sperm?
That's what it's saying. Drop emitted.
Where does it say sperm?
Drop emitted, proceeding from the backbone
Right.
and the ribs.
So you have a noun there, man, and you have a verb there, yakhruju.
Yeah.
So you have a noun and a pronoun. And then you have a pronoun and a pronoun and a pronoun.
Yep.
Okay. So which noun is this pronoun referring to? In normal language, in everyday usage, we would say the pronoun refers to the noun that is immediate,
Yes.
mentioned, right? Is it possible this pronoun or this verb, which has the
Simple question. What's
listen,
backbone and ribs got to do with sperm?
listen. You've misunderstood this already.
What's backbones to do with it and ribs?
Who says it's to do with the sperm? Excuse me. Sorry. Okay. Thank you. Okay. It's already been recorded. Right.
Yes.
Who do you think this refers to? Do you think this is referring to the man or to the sperm? You're assuming it's referring to the sperm, right?
Yes. Emitted.
No. There are two statements. Let man think from what he's created from. created from a fluid that is self-emitting
Yes.
and proceeding from. Now this proceeding, who does it refer to? Most people think it refers to the fluid.
Okay.
Is it possible it refers to the man earlier on?
The man
Yeah.
emitting from the ribs and backbones.
No, not emitting. Proceeding.
Preceding what exactly?
Comes out, draws forth. يخرج. Comes out, draws forth.
To be honest, I find it difficult to understand what
Listen,
backbones and
listen.
ribs got to do with anything.
Wait. A woman is pregnant with a child.
Yep.
Is the child in between the backbone and the ribs during delivery?
No. It's in the womb. What's ribs got to do with anything?
Okay. Pinpoint to me in between the backbone and the ribs. Exactly. Pinpoint exactly. Imagine you're a woman. Now pinpoint to me exact position between the backbone and the ribs.
The backbone and the ribs.
Yeah.
Chest area, I'm guessing.
The backbone extends to how much? To your coccyx.
Of course, but
Right. So why here? Why you're pointing there when the coccyx is still there?
Because the ribs stop here.
No, in between. Okay. So let me tell you about.
question's there.
Brother, 1 second. Do you understand what in between means?
In between.
Okay.
Of course.
In between the sun and the earth.
Yes.
Pinpoint exactly where. Is it planet Venus, Saturn, Mars?
The sun.
Is it the
all the
moon?
way.
Could it be all of them? In between the sun and the earth, we have the moon, we have the Mars, Venus, Saturn, and so on. So can you pinpoint exactly what's in between means?
50%.
50%? Wrong. Is the moon in between the sun and the moon 50%? Is the Saturn 50%?
No.
Is the Venus 50%?
Saturn's, yeah.
So why do you assume when something is in between two things, it's in the middle? Why do you generate your own mistakes and then force them onto the Quranic text?
That's.
Excuse me.
Ribs.
In between two things, it's not in the middle, is it?
Ribs.
Okay.
All I'm saying.
Okay.
What's ribs got to do with anything?
In between you
Why not the moon?
and that person over there, who am I referring to?
Could be anyone.
Could be anyone. So why do you say 50% in the middle?
But why mention ribs?
Wait. Why mention ribs? It's not the question here. Your question is, you think the sperm comes from there, right? What I'm saying is that it doesn't say that.
My interpretation.
Okay, fine. It continues like this. I didn't say fine, I'm going to now make you understand this. It then tells you, look, surely Allah is able to bring him back to life. The pronoun is only here, raj'ihi, right? إِنَّهُ عَلَى رَجْعِهِ لَقَادِرٌ. This is a pronoun of ha damir, which is a pronoun. It doesn't say man there. So Allah is able to bring back who?
Who's he referring to?
According to you, it should be referring to sperm, right? Because that's the closest noun that it mentioned.
I'm not sure who he's referring to.
But why do they say it's referring to man, him? Why didn't say it?
I don't no idea. I don't know.
Then you need to understand why this became him. A pronoun that is used much later is now going back to the noun that is earlier mentioned. Let's understand this. Let think from where he's created from, right? So man is the noun, okay? We need to know where he's created from.
Yep.
Created from a fluid that is self-emitting and proceeds from. Okay. You think proceeds referring to the fluid, which is another noun. But the next verse goes on and saying, Allah is able to bring him back.
Yep.
So it should refer to the sperm. But the people are translating it referring to the man, which is the earlier pronoun. The first noun, man. And it goes on. Just to show you again. يَوْمَ تُبْلَى السَّرَائِرِ. That day all things secret will be tasted. فَمَا لَهُ مِنْ قُوَّةِ وَلَا نَاصِرٍ. He will have no power and no helper. فَمَا لَهُ. Lahu again a pronoun. Is that referring to the sperm or referring to the man?
Referring to someone, of course.
It's referring to the same man here. So why do you have a problem that يخرج refers to the man? Everything else refers to man.
Yep.
Everything else refers to man. And suddenly you have a noun that's immediate to يخرج. You think it's referring to the sperm. Right?
Again, ribs and backbones. I mean,
Excuse me? During delivery, does the child come from this area? This area?
Ribs.
No, between. What's in between the ribs and the backbone? It's the whole abdomen, my friend.
He could have easily said the womb.
It's not about easily said the womb.
And not.
Remember, You
ribs
think
and
you
backbone.
remember you brought this up thinking.
ankle and-
Wait a second. You brought this up. You brought this up thinking there was a mistake in there. Now you're saying it could have been sent better. It's coming from the uterus. It's coming.
Been said from the head to the ankle.
Wait.
Could have been
Is there
anywhere.
a scientific mistake? Is the question.
Could have been anything. I mean,
Wait
I could
a
say-
second.
I should say the baby's emitted from the head. and
Excuse
down.
me.
What?
It doesn't say baby is coming from the head, does it? It describes exactly where the baby is during delivery.
Could be anywhere in the body. And I
Is the baby in the head when it's being delivered?
in between the head and the ankle.
No, it doesn't say it in the ankle. It says clearly, it's clearly between that area.
I mean,
Excuse me.
I can't refute
You know what? You may be very young, right? You don't know where the baby comes from.
what?
What can I say? The baby is in mommy's tummy. And this tummy area is in between the ribs and the backbone, isn't it?
Between ribs and backbone.
Man. Oh, now you think it's a sperm as well. What am I been explaining all that long?
Could you reread that?
I've just explained to you.
I'm coming late, so I would like to hear
I
that
think
again.
it's
'Cause that
very
sounds
clear.
confusing.
I am saying the pronoun that proceeds from refers to the man rather than the fluid.
What chapter is that? Just for me. I like my personal use.
86.
86.
Yeah.
Verse.
So you come 86. It's only a few verses, 17 verses all total. So now you realize you thought the Quran makes a scientific mistake when the Quran doesn't make a scientific mistake.
No, I didn't say that. They just backbones and ribs and sperm and babies and that's just.
Excuse me. If the baby comes from that area, do you have a problem?
Why can it not be womb instead of backbone
Oh,
ribs?
so
that's the question.
okay. So if the God describes to you in a scientific language saying it's actually coming from this scientific terminology, would you understand?
What?
Would you understand it?
What do you mean? Repeat. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do I mean? Do you demand scientific terminology in the Quran?
No, the womb is a lot more descriptive than the backbone and ribs. It's a lot more descriptive.
So basically, no more scientific mistake, but
Yeah.
now it comes to a better language claim. Previously, you were claiming that there's a scientific mistake. He explained it to you. Now you understand there's no scientific mistake. Now, basically, your argument is that it could have been put better in a better language.
Yes.
Is that what you were saying?
I will explain why it couldn't be put in a better language. Okay? So he's talking about the geometry of the of the human body. So the question is, where is the sperm coming from? It comes from the testes. If you want to locate the testes in a 3D geometrical form,
I explained that as a man rather than a testes, a sperm. So the
Right,
interpretation was
fine.
a man.
but the point is of the origin. The location of the origin is what is being questioned. Geometrically, he's saying that the scientific language does not refer to geometry correctly. It refers to geometry very correctly. You talk about three-dimensional cylinder. The front of the cylinder, the back of the cylinder. Where does the sperm originate? Front or back? Back. All right? Back. So there you are. Do we need to say more about that?
That's a strange analogy.
Is it? No, it's not an analogy. That was not
So
an
Mansur,
analogy.
Mansur,
That is simply
I
a
need to
statement about the
understand what
geometry.
you're saying. Are you saying that the baby itself is emerging between the backbone and the ribs? Or
Yeah, that's what I
or
said.
the fluid?
I'm saying it's not the fluid.
Oh, I see. You're talking about
I'm
the
trying to
Yes.
understand because the Quran here says, so let man observe from what he was created.
Yeah.
He was created from a fluid ejected, emerging from between the backbone and the ribs. So you're saying that it's the actual
The
baby
verb
that's
yakhruju refers to which noun?
relevant to the sperm.
Yeah, because
But
if
for
you look at
anybody with any logical sense who's reading this would interpret it as the fluid ejected, emerging
Really?
from between the backbone
Okay.
and the ribs, and not and
carry on
nothing
reading.
to do
Carry on reading.
with man
okay.
itself.
Carry on reading.
So is this your interpretation,
Hang on.
or is this like a global interpretation?
Can you carry on
of this?
reading?
I just want to know.
No, can you carry on reading?
And then it says here, indeed. So that's full stop. Full stop.
Carry on reading.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Indeed, Allah to return him to life is able.
Return who? The sperm, right?
It doesn't say. It's ambiguous.
It's not ambiguous. It's only using pronouns.
Okay.
Just like when it used the pronouns to refer to in between the backbone and the ribs, it used a pronoun, not a noun. So you understood the pronoun refers to the noun immediately preceding, which is the fluid. So this is another pronoun. It should refer to the fluid, right?
This is referring to. So it's saying, indeed, Allah to return him. Is
Why
able.
do you say him? It's a pronoun.
I'm reading the English right now, so this is what it says.
I'm dealing with the Arabic. So now you have a pronoun. This pronoun refers to who? It should refer to the last noun that is mentioned, right? Not the noun mentioned much earlier.
I don't know. Because it has a full stop first.
It's not about full stop.
Wait.
Look,
It has
look,
a full
listen,
stop.
listen.
So wait.
The way things work, the way things work.
The Quran now
look,
speaks about
listen.
something else. So I'm trying to understand.
When I said he came, what do you understand by this word he came?
He is a pronoun
Referring to who?
referring to a masculine.
Who?
Referring to a masculine. It doesn't say who. You
No.
can't say
If I
who
make
it
that
is.
statement in English, he came, you don't know who it is, right? I have to earlier on, perhaps, or even later, to tell you what this pronoun refers to, which noun. We have two nouns before the in-between statements of backbone and ribs. Two nouns. One is the man, the first noun. The second noun is the fluid, which is self-emitting. Okay. So, you have later on, from these two nouns, several pronouns. As you said, with everyone with a logical mind would think it is quite obvious. Now, you have a logical mind. Now tell me, all the pronouns that comes after, which noun should it refer to?
Which noun, which
Yes.
pronoun should it refer to?
No, the pronouns that are mentioned, which noun should it be referring to?
Which noun it should be referring to?
There are two nouns that I mentioned earlier,
Which was the sperm
man and the
the
fluid.
sperm,
Yeah.
and which one? Which pronouns?
So all the pronouns that now comes in verse later on,
We would
they would refer to which of those nouns?
We would have to now assume, okay? We now have to assume that it's referring to the man in this pronoun here.
Why assume man?
It's an assumption based upon the
Based
fact
on
that
what?
to return him is able.
No. Why? So you're now contextualizing the meaning, right? It's not about this noun is close to the pronoun and the pronoun now follows the noun. You're contextualizing meaning. I'm contextualizing the meaning. Everywhere in the Quran, the verb yakhruju has never been used even once to refer to the fluid. It's always been used in the context of man. All the ways.
So what
I can
does
give
that-
you several
What
examples.
does that term actually mean? What does the word mean?
Kharaja yakhruju means to come forth. Yeah, come out.
To come out. So you're saying now that
So I'm saying, carry on reading again. So you
I'm just going to go back to it. So it's saying here, so let man observe from what he was created.
Yeah.
So man, let's just observe. Where were you created? And it says here, he was created from a fluid ejected,
Yeah.
emerging from between the backbone and the ribs.
Yeah.
That is a continuous sentence. Then there's a full stop.
Is it a continuous sentence or a different ayah?
It's a continuing
Is it a
sentence.
different ayah?
It's a different line, yes.
It's not a line. Is it a different?
It's a complete verse, yes.
It's a complete verse,
Verse.
right? So when a complete verse starts, it starts with a pronoun. Statements with a pronoun, right? Okay.
Yes.
Which noun is it referring to?
It says, well, let's start right here.
Don't say it says. We are now talking about language.
Let's go where it starts from. It says here, so let man, so we're talking about a man, observe from what he was created. So as men now, let's actually observe where were we created from. And it says here, we was created from a fluid, ejected, emerging from between the backbone and the ribs. Full stop.
Yeah,
Full stop.
that's fine.
So now, the
So-
logical thing is that the sperm is emerging from between
No.
the backbone and the ribs.
That's what you assume from the immediate noun describing, right, with a pronoun. That's what you
I
assuming.
just want to know. Because I just want to know. Because
I've just told
I'm
you.
understanding where he's coming from.
No,
but
no.
I'm
I've just
trying to
told
see, Does
you-
everybody understand what is being said here?
Okay, let me clarify
And
to
do
you.
Everybody in the Muslim world have your understanding. Because from everybody who's reading this, I'm sure even the gentleman here was thinking, no,
see-
the sperm
you see-
is coming from between the
you see,
backbone
look.
and the ribs.
People generally can understand this because that's how language operates. If you refer to a pronoun, the pronoun refers to the immediate noun that is mentioned. But what I have said, if you keep on reading, there are other pronouns mentioned. These pronouns do not refer to the last noun that I mentioned. They refer to the most earlier noun, which is the man. So if you think that it should refer to the most closest noun, which is the fluid, the sperm, why doesn't all the other pronouns refer to it?
Because there's a full stop there, and now we're
It's not
talking
about full stop.
You finished the sentence, a trail of thought,
hang
and
on,
now
hang
there's
on.
a new trail of
Hang
thought
on.
going on.
I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Okay, let me ask
Wait,
you a question.
wait,
No.
slowly. Don't
Let
ask me a question. Yeah,
Is
yet.
there any tafsirs on this particular verse?
Hang on,
I
hang
want
on,
to know
hang on.
the
Listen.
community consensus
Listen.
That's fair enough. I just want
What
to know if it's just your
first
thoughts,
of all, it's not
or
my
is this
thoughts.
just the
Scholars have already explained this,
Earlier
right?
on,
Scholars
it's-
have explained this.
Kharaju, it always means
Brother.
to the man, not
Brother.
you go to different verses. same thing.
If there can be
not
people.
saying you're wrong, by the way.
No.
I just
If
want to
people can
understand.
show me my mistakes, I'm more than willing to be corrected. But this is where the interpretation comes from. It starts by saying, let man observe from where it's created from. Okay, that's the number one noun. Secondly, it carries on saying خُلِقَ مِن مَاءٍ دَافِقٍ. He's created from ma and something that is self-emitting, the water. So now ma, this is another name, right? Another noun.
Ma.
Yeah, the water, the fluid, the sperm.
Okay.
It's not a pronoun.
Okay.
It's a noun.
Okay.
Good. Full stop. Okay, we have now first sentence or first ayah, second ayah and third ayah. يَخْرُجُ مِن بَيْنِ الصُّلْبِ وَالتَّرَائِبِ. Proceeding, it, he, because يَخْرُجُ means this is a male pronoun, proceeds from between the sulb and the tara'ib, backbone and the ribs. Now, this pronoun refers to which noun is my question. I am saying this pronoun refers to the first noun, number one noun, which is man. And why I say this, I'll give you two concrete reasons. Number one reason, the verb يخرج has never been used for the ma or the fluids, the sperm, nutfa, mani, anything at all. It's always consistently throughout the Quran been used for the man, insan. Number one. Second point, within the same surah, we have the continuation of the pronouns without any nouns being introduced in the middle. إِنَّهُ عَلَى رَجْعِهِ لَقَادِرٌ. He is certainly able to bring it or him back. Every scholar, every exegete says this doesn't refer to the sperm. It refers to the earlier noun, which is the man.
Understandable.
Why? Why should it do that? Are you suggesting that, okay, they're making some kind of grammatical error here because they are now a pronoun is jumping a noun and going to an earlier noun? But they say it's allowed. And they're giving us so many different examples from the Quran, the exegetes. And it carries on. يَوْمَ تُبْلَى السَّرَائِرُ فَمَا لَهُ مِنْ قُوَّةٍ وَلَا نَاصِرٍ. It or he will have no power and no helper. Who is this referring to? Look, even in bracket it says what? Man.
That's very honest.
This noun is the earlier noun that is mentioned, not the sperm.
So let me get your argument correct.
So my argument is quite simple. This yakhruju, the coming forth, is not referring to sperm, it's referring to man. Okay. Contextually, linguistically.
So your argument is this particular one is talking about sperm and it's not talking about, sorry, it's talking about man.
There's two evidence given.
Rather than sperm.
There's
Okay.
two statements
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing
made.
you. I'm hearing you.
One statement is, where is man created from? Man's created from a fluid that is self-emitting. Number one point. Secondly, this man comes from in between these two places. So if someone says there's a scientific mistake, I would like to know what the mistake is. And if someone says, I have made my own opinion, I would like to know where I am wrong. Because this is linguistically...
Why so cryptic? Why so cryptic?
It's not cryptic.
It's meant to be easy to read. Obviously, I've misunderstood.
You misunderstood because you thought every pronoun refers to the immediate... No.
Whose fault is that?
You thought every noun must follow the immediate noun, not the earlier noun. And that's why you thought that.
And that's my fault because I read wrong.
No, because you thought so, but you didn't even realize the next pronoun referred to noun earlier. So you would have made that mistake.
I just want to know what the tafsir on this verse is.
So no, tafsir, they can make tafsir that this refers to sperm. But I'm saying, why is my interpretation wrong?
Sorry?
Why is my interpretation wrong?
Your interpretation is
my interpretation is exactly...
It's not necessarily wrong.
Backed by the Quran.
No. Your interpretation is not necessarily wrong, but that's just one view. I just want to know what the consensus of the rest of the Muslim world
when it comes
regarding this particular
when it comes to scientific exegesis.
I've ever heard this argument ever brought forward.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. It's a very interesting thing.
People,
and I
look,
like it.
I'll tell you.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I said I like it. But
there is this lajna. The Commission for the Scientific Science of the Quran and Sunnah have produced a paper on this already. Al-Nash'at al-Dhurriya. Okay? It is an Arabic paper going through in much more detail what this is referring to. I have only given you a surface understanding why it's referred to man. In fact, he goes into detail saying it's not only talking about man, it talks about the origin of man. But it will be too difficult to explain because you have to understand the anatomy of the baby. No, not the baby. The first mention that we can even think of the origin of a man. So we are going even within the embryo, the first sign when the germ cells are produced and where they are produced. But I'm only limited to the apparent meaning, which is the man itself. Okay. So now as we return to our subjects, when the Quran talks about many things, you say they knew this, and somehow you alluded to this, the Quran got it wrong. I'm afraid the Quran didn't get anything wrong scientifically. You should be, it's not open to question.
can
What's
read it.
wrong? What's wrong here scientifically?
Just as how I read it, could be.
Yeah. So if you
Mansur, can I ask you another question? Sorry, so I just want to understand. I'm being selfish right now because I'm just trying to understand.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so why would the Quran now jump from the fluids and then jump to the supposed backbone and ribs, which is where the womb is supposed to be? Why is it saying what he was created from rather than where he was created? Because your second statement is basically saying where he was created from rather than what he was created from.
The answer is given in the first verse, where it's created from.
It says here, so let man observe from what he was created.
Yeah.
And it says he was created from a fluid
That's
ejected.
the answer given. Full stop.
But now it's gone into where. So
No,
emerging
this
from
is
between the backbone
this is a
and
different
ribs.
thing. The question first, let man observe. The answer is given in the next ayah immediately. It's created from a fluid that is self-emitting. That's it.
A fluid that is self-emitted.
Yeah. Now, what's so interesting about it? Because we know for sure. Come, please. You want to become a Muslim?
Yes,
Are you convinced that there is only one God?
I believe.
And you believe that only one God is worthy of worship and no one else is worthy of worship?
Yes, I believe.
And you believe in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet, he's the Prophet and Messenger of God?
Yes, I believe.
Yeah. You believe, what were your previous belief? Did you believe in anything?
I was an atheist, but I'm seeking the pathway that will lead, in my words, to the Creator.
So you want to testify
Yes,
that there is no God worthy of worship except the one and only God, Allah, and you want to testify that Prophet Muhammad is his messenger.
yes.
Right. So please repeat with him. He will tell you.
Yeah, do it. You do it, inshallah.
Okay. So what you're going to say is exactly what you said. So you're going to say this in Arabic, but first in English.
Okay,
That I testify
I testify
that there is no one worthy of worship
that there is no one worthy of worship
except Allah alone,
except Allah alone,
and I also bear and testify
and I also bear and testify
that Muhammad
that Muhammad
is his servant and his messenger.
is his servant and his messenger.
Yeah. Say, Ashhadu
Ashhadu
an la
Allah,
an ashhadu
Ashhadu
an
an
la
la
ilaha
ilaha
illallah
illallah
wa ashhadu
wa ashhadu
anna
anna
Muhammadan
Muhammadan
abduhu
abdu
wa rasuluhu.
wa rasuluhu.
Alhamdulillah.
Allahu Akbar.
Congratulations.
May Allah accept you. When you
Thank
go,
you.
when you go, brother, go down
you.
to the earth, go on your face, and pray as Moses, as Muhammad, as Jesus, and say, May Allah please
Yeah.
continue guiding me.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Take to one side, brother, and then we will talk later, inshallah. Okay. All the best.
Brother.
Bye. See you later, inshallah.